I'm Mr. Bruno. I'm the College and Career Counselor. I'm going to have all of the rest of the counselors that are on this call. We're going to be doing this call twice today. We're going to probably go about 30 minutes each call, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less each time with different counselors. So I'd like to work our way through the counselors. Panina, Ms. Noonan, would you like to introduce yourself next?
Hi, everybody. I'm Miss Noonan. I have caseload PATJ through SC, and I'm looking forward to helping my senior class through this process.
Thanks, Ms. Noonan. How about Ms. McCall? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mrs. McCall. All of you at this point should know who I am, and hopefully, so I have alphabet M-A-R-T, so Martin through P-A-T-I. And again, I look forward to meeting with each of you in the upcoming weeks about college.
And then finally, last but not least, Ms. Schaefer, do you want to introduce yourself? Not ourselves, yourself.
I would love to introduce ourselves. I am Miss Schaefer. I have last names A through BA, and I'm also the counseling department chair. And we know this year is really tough, so we just want you guys to know that we are here for you for anything you need. So please, please, please reach out to your counselor. But we're going to be having a lot of events and a lot of these kinds of Zoom type things. So just bear with us and we'll start this whole journey together.
Yes, so thank you again for the participants that are on right now. This is our first webinar as a department. So thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for attending. Hopefully you all had a chance to watch the virtual presentation that I put together and sent out. I know it was long, but there is so much information that I wanted to get to all of you. That is just part one. There is more information to come. Senior week will be in September if you watch the video. So that will be coming up the week of September 14th to the week of, it's actually going all the way to Saturday because we'll have an event Saturday morning for families about FAFSA from ISAC. So thank you again for being a part of this. I have some questions I wanted to work through. If you have any questions as it pops up, I would love for you to just type them into the chat feature. Ms. Schaefer is going to be moderating the chat feature at the bottom, so she'll be able to read your questions out. Don't be embarrassed. We will not say who asked the question. We won't put you on blast. So feel free to ask any questions as they come up. We also have a special guest from CLC that I will give the ability to talk and join in on this. If you have any CLC specific questions, Claudia Padilla from CLC is hanging out in our attendees also. So if you have any specific CLC questions, please feel free to ask and I will have Claudia jump in for us also. So let's start with some of the questions that have come in and then we will go from there. If anybody has an answer, feel free. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer it also. The first one that I got were, are my current grades high enough to get into my first college choice? So that is a great question, but it depends on the student themselves. So I will take this question first if nobody minds. The best thing that you can be doing right now is you can either check through collegeboard.org or you can check through the college website themselves to figure out what their average GPA score is. This year is going to be different than most years. Most years, your SAT score or ACT score would also play a part in a lot of the schools that you're applying to. This year, a vast majority of schools are going test optional. I just took a very long call with University of Illinois yesterday, who has never in their history been test optional, but will be test optional this year, which is a really, really big deal. What they're saying is, though, that because they are going test optional, they are going to be weighing the other areas that they consider when choosing a student that much more seriously. So if you're planning on going to U of I, Champaign-Urbana, then they're going to be looking at grades, the rigor of your courses, which we'll talk about. They're going to be talking about honors, awards, distinctions, things that make you stand out as a student, extracurricular activities. So all of those are going to matter a whole lot more. If you're looking to go to a school where the average GPA is a 3.5 and your GPA is a 2.9, that is going to be a really far reach for you. If your GPA is a 3.4, a 3.35, and you're looking to get into a school that's a 3.5, I would still say that that would be one of your reach colleges, not one of your match colleges, but it's still something that you should consider. As long as you have those other areas the school's looking for, I would still feel comfortable helping you through the process of that school. You get a fee waiver. I'm not saying to apply for schools. If you have a 2.9, you do not want to apply to Northwestern. I mean, you can. I'm not going to stop you from doing what your heart desires, but it's going to be really hard to get into a school that prestigious with a 2.9 GPA. So your grades do matter. It just depends on what school you're looking for. Do any of the other counselors want to help me and explain to kids what course of rigor means? What does that mean to you?
So I'll jump in. So when colleges are looking for a rigorous curriculum, they're looking at the classes you took in high school. So if you took more than just, sorry, my husband just walked in. If you're taking more than just the regular classes, they want to see, like, did you push yourself? So maybe I started in all regular classes my freshman year, but then my sophomore year, I took an honors class. And then my junior year, I pushed myself even further. And maybe I took 2 honors classes or an honors and an AP class. They're looking to see that you actually pushed yourself and you tried harder over your high school curriculum or time.
Absolutely. That's what schools are. That's what schools are looking at. If you took an honors course and then you decide to go back down to regular courses, but you got an A in an honors course, like Ms. Noonan said, they want to make sure that you are pushing yourself as far as you can go. It's just like in sports. If you started out in freshman track and field and you're a senior and you're still in freshman track and field, that doesn't really show that you've pushed yourself to move all the way up to the varsity level. That's what schools are looking for. I cannot stress enough, I know that we are in the middle of a pandemic and it is not as easy as it would have been last year to be a part of clubs and activities and sports. But if there are opportunities for you to be involved, even in a virtual manner, please stay involved. Your grades still matter. It's this semester, and hopefully we'll be back next semester. I don't know what that's going to look like. I wish I had a magic ball. But this semester, your grades are the same way they would be if you were in school, any traditional first semester of high school. Don't just think because you are at home, your grades don't matter. Colleges are going to look at it, and they're going to look at it so much closer under a microscope this upcoming year, because they want to know if you're the kind of student that's coming to their college, you can deal with ambiguity. You can deal with this craziness that we're going through, and you're still being an active student. You're still participating. You're still keeping your grades up. So don't think this is a free pass, because this is not a free pass. A free pass will not get you into your reach college if that's what you're hoping to do.
Mr. Bruno, can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
Are grades from first semester going to be weighted heavier now because of everything going on? What have you heard from colleges in terms of how they're looking at grades from first semester of senior year?
So like I'm saying, they are looking at your grades. They want to know the data, and they want to see how you are reacting to this. One of the things that I heard from some of I was in constant contact with a large group of our seniors last year as we went into this pandemic, and we were out of the building in the middle of March. And a lot of them were telling me, like, it doesn't matter, we're all getting good grades, but like, that's not what's happening now. You don't get, if you're getting an A today, that doesn't mean you're gonna get an A at the end of the semester. This semester is a true semester of school. It's just in a different setting. Another thing I heard from our seniors last year as they were going into March was, I don't really like online classes. I don't really do well in them. Well, you're going to take online classes in college. Like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. A lot of your classes will be in person, but you will see through your 4 years of college, you may take one or more courses that are online, and you can't tell your college professor on the first day of school, I don't really like online classes, so I'm going to just not do it. They're not going to accept that as a response. That's just not something they're going to do. So schools want to see how you're doing. When I tell you, and I'm just using U of I as an example because I spoke to them today. I spoke to Dominican again today. Dominican's another school, that's a private school. The GPA isn't as high as U of I Champaign-Urbana. They told me the exact same list of requirements that they're going to be moving forward with this year. Again, grades, rigor, extracurricular activities, how you're involved and how you've been involved for the last 4 years. So they really can only look at your grades from senior year with what you do this first semester, because by the time we're in January, all of your applications should have been in already. So please take this seriously. Again, I know it's hard to be a part of clubs and sports and activities, but if there's anything that you can be a part of, if there are after school webinars like this that you can participate in, if any of your teachers are doing small groups that you can participate in, every little thing counts. Also, start working on a list of things that you've been a part of before this all began. So if you were involved in clubs freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, create a list, get out a notebook and start writing down all the things you were involved in and what year you were involved in it, because schools are going to know that they're not unaware. Schools know that we are in e-learning, but they want to know, were you involved before this? So that's a good thing to know about. So let's talk about the next question that I've received.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes.
So it's not just all the clubs and sports and everything that you've been involved in, but also think of any awards that you might have gotten. So like, let's say like freshman year, I was most improved, like write all those kind of things down too, because that will also help your, if you're asking for a letter of rec, it will help us with our letters as well as maybe your teachers that you're asking.
I'd like to, can I just add something too? And I think that goes along with work. So if you've worked part-time, you're going to want to write down like the dates that you worked at that job. In addition to that, any volunteering. So volunteering counts, and sometimes you forget what you did freshman year, but on every application, you're going to see a list of, it's going to ask you, what have you been involved in? And so volunteering does count too, and work.
Yes, work is going to be huge right now. So I know a lot of you are working. I have gotten plenty of emails and questions about like, how is this going to work? I'm working a lot more hours than I worked last year at this time. But schools want to know you can juggle different things, because you don't just go to college and go to classes. You're going to be involved in a lot of things in college. Some of you are going to get into work study, and work study is where you make a little bit of money working for the school directly. Maybe you're the person that puts the mail in the dorm room slots. Maybe you're working the front desk, and that money goes towards your college education. It helps offset some of those costs. If you're going to be doing that, schools want to know that you can juggle more than just classes. So it's important to keep all of your work history down too. Start now. You have time to start making that list and working through it. Now's the time to be doing that. So here's the next question I receive all the time. What's going on with the SAT? And I know we just talked about test optional, but what's going on with the SAT, Mr. Bruno? Am I taking the SAT? Ms. Shaver, why don't you field this one?
Yeah, so we get it. You guys are anxious, which we understand, but we're kind of in the same boat as you guys. We don't have a solid answer. Right now it's slated for October. What date in October? How's that going to work? We're not 100% sure. So when SAT and the state guidelines let us know what we can do, you guys will be the second people that find out. So once we find out, we will definitely communicate it to you. But right now it's slated for October.
Keep checking social media. Check our Facebook page. Check our Twitter account. I update it with the most up-to-date information that comes out. You will for sure get an email from probably Ms. Schaefer or myself, or from the district about what's going on. It's not that we don't want you to know what's going on. We just have not gotten clarification on our own. I promise you, none of us would be keeping this a secret. We wish we knew. So that's important for us to let you guys know. Another question, and if anybody has more questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. There is no such thing as a stupid question. You are probably thinking the same thing all of your peers and friends are thinking. Don't be afraid to ask it. Nobody else will be able to see it. That's another thing. Only us panelists can see what you're asking. Your friends can't see it when you put it into that chat. So feel free to ask questions in the chat feature. When should I begin thinking of colleges to apply to, or when should I start applying to colleges? Anybody want to take that one?
You should be thinking about it now. And I know this class is very hungry with going to college and the career choices. We've been getting emails this summer about like, should I be applying? So what should I do? We want you to slow down. Right now, we want you to be just thinking about what it is, where do you want to go, what kind of school fits you. We will be putting stuff out into your homeroom classes. I know that a lot of questions are coming from the homeroom classes. But September 1st is really when a lot of colleges open up their applications where you can start applying. So we say right now, just be planning, okay, what does it look like for me? Where do I want to go? And then September, start applying. We have tons of events in September for you guys where we will be available to help you. The counselors will be sending out an email to everyone on their caseload where you will schedule a time and meet with us, and we will go over graduation requirements and just make sure you're on track. And we will be talking about college and applying to colleges with you. So like I said before, we are here for you no matter what. So don't stress. Senior year is super stressful, we know, but it's step by step. So step one is what you're doing now, figuring out where do I want to go, what school fits me, financially, what can I afford, or I know scholarships are the next big thing people think about, but I tell my students every time, 3 steps. First step, where do I want to go? Second step, apply there. Third step, that's when we worry about all the finances. So even if a school is more expensive than you would hope, you can still apply there and then figure out, from there, what kind of scholarships do you need. Everyone always jumps to scholarships right away because we know college is expensive, but don't start there. That's like step 3.
If I got $1 for every email I received this summer from juniors who are now seniors asking about scholarships, I could retire already. That's how many emails I get. I got some emails over the summer from college representatives who are asking me, oh, hey, do you know the student, they applied here, and they are now your senior class who applied to go to their school over the summer of your junior to senior year. That's too early. They thought that you were late seniors, but you were juniors. So September 1st is the day that most college applications open. Please try being patient until that day, because otherwise you could be applying during the wrong semester year. You want to be applying for the right semester year. A question just came through about FAFSA, and I think that that's an awesome thing for us to talk about also. Speaking of applying for the correct year, FAFSA does not open until October 1st. Every year, FAFSA opens October 1st. So if you are going into FAFSA and you are completing a FAFSA right now, you are completing the wrong FAFSA. You are completing the FAFSA from the class of 2020's cycle. So please do not fill out the FAFSA right now. There are going to be multiple events to walk you through the FAFSA and how the FAFSA looks. I will give you all of the details about that right now. So there is going to be during senior week. So senior week starts September 14th, which is a Monday, and then ends on Saturday, September 19th, which is a Saturday. So if you want to write this down, everybody, make sure you get this into your calendar. And again, it will be sent out, and it is inside the presentation that I posted earlier. On Tuesday, September 15th, there's going to be a FAFSA information presentation at 6 p.m. It will be again like this. It'll be a virtual Zoom webinar. There will be one in English and one in Spanish. So that's Tuesday, September 15th at 6 p.m. I will record that, and I will make sure that that's posted on the internet. But also, if parents want to be involved or students want to be involved, but they can't because they work at nighttime, we will be doing a second presentation. It will be the same presentation. There should not be new information. It's just to give people a second opportunity to be a part of it if they couldn't take part of it at nighttime. That will be Saturday, September 19th at 10 a.m. Again, that will be a virtual webinar, and that will be in English and in Spanish. So there will be 2 opportunities to participate in those. If you can't make it the evening, then you have the day session. If you can't participate in either of those, they will both be on the internet. They should be up pretty shortly after. I just need to get them out into YouTube, and then they'll be available for you to watch. We have a lot of, I know that the FAFSA is a scary process because it's all you've been hearing about probably from brothers and sisters and cousins. We are going to do our absolute best this year to help you get through the FAFSA even if it's virtually. We have a lot of resources. You have your counselors, you have myself, we have ISAC, which is a representative that the Illinois State has given us to help you through the FAFSA. Our representative this year, his name is Alexis Alvarez. He will be available on every other Tuesday for the first few months. He will be there pretty much every lunch period that you can set up an event, a time with him, 15, 30 minutes, and he will help you through the FAFSA once the process opens up. If you have questions ahead of time, you can reach out to Alexis. I know that I sent his email address in the presentation, but I will give it one more time so you can feel free to write this down. It is Alexis, ALEXIS .Alvarez, ALVAREZ @illinois.gov. Alexis will get back to you when he has a chance. You can also text Alexis if you'd like to. It is not his personal phone. It is his work phone, 847-376-9638. Again, all of this information is at the end of the presentation that I posted. Just make sure you tell Alexis when you text him what your full name is, first and last name, and what school you are from, and let him know if you have a question. So we have about 15 minutes left. I have some more questions. If anybody has questions right away, please feel free to ask it in the chat feature. I'm happy to get to your questions right now. Ms. McCall, is it better for me to apply early decision or early action?
Ooh, early decision is not something that I recommend for students. Early decision is a binding decision. So if you apply early decision, if you get into that school, you have to go to that school no matter what the financial aid package is. So we always recommend early action. So you have to pay attention to when you're clicking on which one you're applying, that you're applying early action. Sometimes you'll see early action 1 or early action 2. And usually with early decisions, so there's usually a contract they have you print out, and they want, with being virtual, I don't know how that's going to work, but they usually want a parent signature and they usually want a counselor signature on that early decision contract. So it is a contract that you're saying that you are going to be attending that school. So early action is the route that I would go. And that's just, early action is basically just saying that they're going to consider your application before their regular decision deadline. So yes. I would say early action.
I would add nothing to that because that's exactly how I feel about it also. Early decision is a legally binding contract. You are putting yourself in a difficult situation should you get accepted to a school that you thought was a reach school and you didn't think you were going to get into, and you get accepted to your early decision match school. I don't want anybody to be in that. I know I have not heard any pushback ever from any other counselor about early decision. Everybody pretty much feels the same way. You really need to think about it before that becomes a decision, and we will push back if you decide to do early decision to make sure you are understanding all the terms of it. How about, this is a good one. What happens during an interview with a college representative? Say you make it to the interview phase. What does that look like? Have any of you, when you were going to college, had to do an interview with a college rep? I'm interested to hear. Ms. Noonan, you did? What was yours like?
Yeah, so I actually ended up having a group interview for one of my programs. So that was a very interesting experience. They kind of wanted to see how we were going to respond to other people in the group to see if we were going to be a good fit for the program. So it's you definitely want to look prepared. So what I mean by that is dress professionally. Even if it's going to be like a virtual environment, make sure that whatever you're wearing is something that if you stand up, they will be okay with what you're wearing. So you just want to be prepared also with maybe even like the things that you've been involved in, so that if they ask any questions, you're not stumbling through the responses that you're giving them. And it's kind of like if you were in like a speech class, just rehearsing maybe even the things that you would want a college admissions counselor to know about you and why you would be a good fit for their school.
I think something that's important, I didn't have to do a college interview, but I do a lot of interviews for different positions in the school. And so I'm always looking for, and I would think that it's the same at the college level, like realness. Like, don't try to look for the answer that you think that you should say, but something that you truly believe in. Because you can really tell the difference between someone who's using like the buzzwords or like, you know, looked up something like, what do I answer this question with? So just be yourself and like be confident that, you know, you deserve to go to that school or you deserve to be in that program. And just like be real with the person. Because that means a lot more to me personally. Like when I'm doing an interview, I can really feel if someone's being their true self.
And I think that all of those need to be also taken into account, not just for the interview process, but when we move to having rep visits in the building, not in the building, but virtually, we'll have college representatives that are going to come on Zoom, and they're going to want to talk to you about their school, and they're going to want to get to know a little bit about you. One of the things I tell students all the time is it's so much different than when everybody in this panel went to college. When we applied to college, we didn't meet the actual person that was reviewing our application. These representatives that are coming to our building, 99% of them are the people that are deciding if you're going to get into school. They have a segment of the United States they work with, and they get to choose from those students who's going to get accepted to their college. So if you come even on this tool, on this Zoom, and you're wearing, you know, a tank top and you're laying in your bed with pajamas on and you have Ariana Grande blasting in the background so they can hear it, they're going to know who that is. They want you to be professional. Every time you are face to face or face camera to camera with people through the college process, you are representing yourself. And I need that to be super, super, like, please shout that from the rooftop. Tell that to your friends. This is the time. That is the person accepting you. They will, if you are on the edge, they will go to their supervisor to fight for you if you have made a good impression. Also, on the same thing, a lot of times in an interview, especially when you're looking for jobs, you get to ask questions at the end. Ms. Schaefer, you've done a lot of interviews. I worked for Apple for many years. I did hundreds of interviews when I worked at Apple. I could tell if somebody genuinely had questions during an interview for me or if they were just making things up at the end because they were on the spot. Can you tell Ms. Schaefer when somebody has come prepared?
Yeah, I mean, it just, when someone comes prepared and they're giving the answers that they truly believe in, but then at the end they're asking questions they truly care about, not just like the standard, like, you don't want to ask a question of something that you should have already known. So like when someone's like, how many students attend, you know, Round Lake High School? That's something that if they were really interested in my school, they would have looked up on our website. So it's the same thing with like colleges. You don't want to ask like, oh, do you have this major? Well, if you were really interested, you would have been researching the school. So you want to come with questions that like you can't find online. Things that like, yes, you're very interested in, but that not just like a general question that like that you could find by Googling. Because that just shows like, okay, well, maybe they don't really care about this school because they didn't take the time to go and find that answer online.
And you can, here's something that I see a lot during that representatives love to talk about. They love to talk not just about the school, but they like to talk about the life that's being led around the school building. So if you want to ask not just about like majors, but ask like, what is there for me, student X, to be involved in on campus? Like, sure, you could find what list of clubs and activities are at Northern Illinois, but asking them, like, you live, like most of these representatives have been to campus many, many times or live near campus. Like, what are some cool activities that take place on campus? Do you have concerts that come through? What clubs do you see a lot of freshmen joining? Ask them questions, let them know you're still interested, not just in being a student, but being an active member of the community, because that's what you become. When you move to your campus or when you're attending CLC, you are an active member of that community. and they want you to participate. They want you to really, really be involved. So please keep that in mind.
And correct me if
one of-
I'm wrong, but when the different, even if it's on Zoom, when you're talking with a college representative, they're probably going to write your name down if you do stand out to them. And they actually have sign-in sheets typically for the different college visits. So when Mr. Bruno mentioned that, this representative might fight for you if you're like on that edge or that border and you made an impression, it's because they wrote your name down. And I'm sure like maybe they put a star next to you or something if they really felt like you would be a good fit for their campus.
Yes, they will always, almost always, but always come in with a card asking for like your name, your email, your phone number, so that way they can keep in contact with you. Another thing, just a quick shout out, that's not a question, but something that happens every year. Once you start to put your name into online features, when you fill out collegeboard.org and you put your name and your email to log into account, your email address goes to many, 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 many schools, and you will start getting letters in the mail, and you will start getting emails from colleges you never, ever even looked at, telling you how wonderful you are and how they want you to come to their college and you'd be a great asset. If it's not a school that's ever crossed your mind and they're accepting you, that should send like flares up. Red flags should be shooting up. Because if you're not interested, just because you got a letter saying how great you are, and it feels great to feel great, don't let that be like the reason. I had students that would be like, I'm only applying to this school because they told me how wonderful I was. And then I would ask, like, what about that school do you love? And they were like, they sent me this letter, and that's it. That was the only thing. They send that letter to a lot of kids because they're trying to hit a quota. Please don't please don't feel like you're not special, because you are special. But that is what a lot of those schools are doing. Apply to the schools you want to go to. Be excited about the school you could be going to, because you're going to spend 4 years there if you're getting your bachelor's degree. And it could be all the way up to 8, 10 years if you're going even further than that. One of the questions is, what school, like what are some schools that a lot of your students go to? I think that this would be a good time for me to steal Claudia from the audience and bring her in, and maybe she can talk about CLC just for a few minutes. She's going to be like, what are you doing? Why did you do this? I'm going to promote Claudia to a panelist. We're going to see if this works. Everybody be patient. This is a learning experience for all of us. Claudia, can you hear me, and can you respond?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Claudia.
Yay. Hi, how are you guys?
Good. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being here. And I know that you didn't know I was going to pull you in, but people want to know, what school do a lot of our kids go to? And you are the person that helps a lot of our kids get to CLC. You want to talk about CLC for a few minutes?
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know if you guys want to kind of confirm that, but I'd say a large number of Round Lake students go to CLC, at least around 200, if not more. Seniors every year will go ahead and attend CLC, even if that's for a semester or if it's just for the summer and then they're transferring out to a 4-year school, or even doing the 2 years or the different certificate options that we have. Really affordable. Our credits transferred to pretty much every school, especially if maybe you need to work on your GPA, or maybe you weren't happy with your test scores, or maybe you don't really know like what you want to do at this point. It's a great place to go ahead and try to figure that out. We have a lot of classes that are designed to help you kind of find what your niche is, what you enjoy. I think a lot of us can attest to the saying that, if you really enjoy what you do, you never really work a day in your life. And so that's really what I'm here to do. And with my new role, I'm going to be the main one that helps you guys from like application to all the way getting you enrolled in your classes, making sure everything for financial aid's all taken care of, all that good stuff. So I'm really here to support you guys. Even if you're not really sure if CLC maybe is for you, we can always create that backup plan. So then you know that, okay, if this doesn't work out, well, you know what? I already got everything taken care of with CLC. And so that's really kind of what we strive to do, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, Claudia, I think we would all agree that a large majority of our students go to CLC. It is also, we really, really strive to get every single student to apply to CLC. So you will see there's going to be some events coming up especially during senior week, that we're going to try to get every single student to apply to CLC. It is a very easy application. It is free. You don't need a fee waiver. I know the counselors from last year they sat down with every student and get them through. So it is a great option to have available. You will have to take general education classes no matter what college you attend. If you are planning on going to an Illinois school to get your 4-year degree, most of your undergrad courses, if not all of your undergrad courses, will transfer from CLC over as long as you keep your admission counselor in the loop. It's a pretty easy process. Would you agree with that, Claudia?
Oh yeah, definitely. Keeping the admissions rep, up to date, your academic counselor, and then because we can always cross-reference as to, what DePaul takes or what, University of California takes. So really big piece to that is communication. Even if you have a couple of schools in mind that you might be thinking about transferring to, we can always, again, cross-reference that and make sure that you're taking the right classes. So then when you do transfer out, whether that's after freshman year or sophomore year, you're then taking all your credits with you and then transferring in as a true sophomore or a true junior then at that point. Yep.
Can I hop in?
Yeah.
So one of the questions I get the most is, so I have to go to CLC for 2 years and then I have to go to a 4-year school for 4 years. And that is not the case. So that's why Claudia is saying that essentially what happens is you take those 2 years of gen eds and then you can go in as a true sophomore or a true junior, depending on how many classes you take. So I think I'm the only one on this panel that actually did go to CLC for 2 years. I then transferred to Lake Forest and did 2 years at Lake Forest, and then I went on and did 2 years for my master's. So I didn't lose any time by going to CLC. I ended up saving a lot of money by going that route, and I actually had probably my best college experience at CLC because of how involved I was. So no matter where you go, whether it's CLC or a 4-year college, get involved because that's how you're going to make those lasting connections, relationships, and memories.
Yeah, I know personally, I took a summer school class every single summer that I was home at CLC to get credits out of the way at a significantly lower amount, especially courses that I may not have been as passionate about. I took a introduction to philosophy course. I took intro to speech courses that were not going to help me towards you have to take them for your major, but were not my passion. I wanted to take courses on campus that I was like super, super excited about being a part of. And that if I was going to spend $3,000 or $4,000 per course, I thought, might as well go to CLC during the summer, get this out of the way for a significantly lower amount of money. I mean, much, much cheaper. And the classes were great. And CLC, and I'm not a young chicken. A class at CLC is like beautiful. When I went there, it was not as nice as it is today. So it's a really great place to go. So thank you, Claudia. I appreciate it. I am going to let you go back into the attendees role. And I am going to thank all of the counselors for participating. Thank you for all of the attendees for also being a part of this. We will be doing another question and answer at 4:15 with some of my other colleagues. And then please let your parents know we will be live tomorrow at 6 p.m. in English and 7 p.m. in Spanish. The Zoom links have been sent out to you. If your parents want to be involved, we will go through a bunch of questions also that come in. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.